Hi, I'm Sarah Zero from Wellstruck, and I'm about to hop on to an interview call with Brooke Forry from Curious & Co., a branding studio, and she also recently started the Balance Bound Planner. I'm really excited to introduce you to her. She's been a wonderful member of the Wellstruck community of women entrepreneurs for the past few years, and she will be co-hosting my event with me in January. Hey, Brooke. So, will you tell us a little bit about your business and what it is that you do?
Sure. So we are a boutique graphic design firm. We do a lot of branding for small businesses. We do packaging design, Squarespace website design, but the foundation of our business is typically those visual brands that we start out with a client on, and then from there we build, whatever it is that they need. So if they're a product-based business, we help them with their packaging or all of the little pieces that come along with that. And then this year, after almost 10 years in business, we also launched a new product called the Balance Bound Planner. I happen to have one sitting right here. This is a new day planner format that kind of started out as a passion project for me and became something that we decided to pursue as a company. And it's just been quite a ride for the last several months.
That is amazing. It's been really fun to watch you dive into this new world of creating a product.
Thank you.
And what I'm so excited about with the planner, even though I'm not a paper planner person, this planner makes me want to use it because I've noticed that so many planners out there, even the ones that are really thought out and organized in the right way, the design isn't great, but you're a designer, so it is bringing the best of all those worlds together. So I just want to give you a shout out, and anybody who is looking for a planner, it's a really awesome planner.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it definitely, the design background certainly helped. And I am a planner person. I've always been the type of person that just needs to write down and needs to kind of have things sorted in a certain way to keep me from feeling too anxious or overwhelmed. So, kind of bringing my organizing side together with my design side was a nice, happy marriage.
Awesome. So you may have just answered this one, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyway. So tell us about a project or goal you recently aced or something you're really proud of.
Sure. Well, I'm definitely proud of the planner, but I'll say that it started out as not totally acing it. We had started a Kickstarter over the summer and set our goal a bit too high. It was a super new experience, like just having no idea how to really run a Kickstarter. I read books and blogs and, got all of the information I could, but we did not meet our Kickstarter goal. And so I think in some senses, it wasn't totally a win, but really for me, it was because it told me, look, there is support out there for this idea, not as much as we needed, but there was a lot of support and a lot of interest. And this is something that we can figure out on our own. So my business partner, Terry, and I, we just kind of figured out some ways to make it happen. We changed the specifications a bit of the planner to make it a little more affordable to produce. So I feel really proud of it, even though there was definitely times in the last several months that it was very, very hard. And I thought, like, should we keep doing this? Are we doing the right thing? But I'm proud of where we've gotten so far and happy to continue selling more throughout the beginning of the new year.
So I'm curious because there's so many people shifting from service-based business to product or thinking about ways to grow their business. If
Mhm.
there's one big lesson you've learned so far about starting down this product-based path or trying a Kickstarter or just starting something completely new and trying something completely new, what advice or wisdom would you have to share based on your experience?
Um, it will be three times as much as much work as you think it's going to be. Not to scare anyone, but and it's been totally worth it and gratifying, but it is absolutely, at least for us, because we're continuing the service-based side of the business, and the planner really didn't totally blend with the service-based side of the business. So we really had to come up with a new name and a new website and new social media to keep those elements separate because we're reaching different audiences. So it was really like starting a whole second business. So if you are taking on something that you're going to be really starting over in terms of finding a new audience, know that that takes a lot of time to build up. It takes a lot of patience. And, just remember that there's a lot of unglamorous behind the scenes work just basically starting from scratch. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, give yourself a lot of time, give yourself a lot of leeway and breaks and rest, because it's a big undertaking, but it can be totally gratifying, and it can be exciting to be reaching new people that just are different from the people that we've been working to reach for the last 9+ years. We've always been working to find other small business owners that need branding. But now we're kind of, reaching out to individuals, people who might happen to have businesses, parents. So it's just been a whole new experience.
It is a whole new business.
Absolutely.
So, if I might just follow up with one more question about it, I'd love
Absolutely.
to hear about the testing that you did with it, because I know you did some beta tests with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, really, when I had the idea for the planner, I, kind of made a very embarrassing mock up. I'm sure if I looked back at my old files, I would just cringe. But, just kind of got it down on paper, started using it myself for a few months to make tweaks here and there, talked with friends. My great friend, Amanda Jefferson, had some great feedback because she owns Indigo Organizing. And I think her organizational mindset helped me to look at things a little differently on paper. I talked to my business partner and just went back and forth and made tweaks. And then I put together some 6-month prototypes, just kind of made at the local copy center, spiral bound, had a bunch of them printed up and shipped off to some friends, gave some to some local friends, and said, please use this. Here's the story behind it. Here's how I've broken everything up. Tell me if you understand that you're supposed to divide your day by these 4 sections: work, self, others, and home. How is it working for you? Is there anything missing? Is there anything we can do a better job of explaining when we hand this over, to you or in our marketing? How can we best explain this? So I think just really getting that feedback was so important. Also getting excitement from people made us want to keep going with it, because a lot of times you can kind of just get stuck behind your computer working on something and you're like, is this going to resonate with people? So hearing that it did resonate, and people actually saw value in it and said, oh my gosh, like, I am realizing that I am not devoting enough time to self-care, but this planner helps me see now at a glance where I need to take care of myself. So the testing was such an important element of the whole process and bringing the final product to life.
That is a really interesting take. I knew the importance of testing as far as iterating and making it better and having a square one and getting real user feedback, but I hadn't thought about the idea of them becoming sort of brand ambassadors or product ambassadors and really their enthusiasm motivating you.
Yeah, yeah. On the rough days, sometimes like I just had to look back at those notes, like, this is the best planner I've ever used. And I've used a lot of planners. I'm like, okay, even if only 100 people feel this way, that's 100 people that we're helping, that, next year, maybe that number can triple. So it just kind of gave me that push to say that we have to start small, but look at what we've already done for this small handful of people that we've given this planner to, and how much more we can do with that.
That's great. Well, I haven't always been a big fan of test and change. I used to be more of a perfectionist, like make sure it's perfect before you launch. But entrepreneurship totally does that to you. It takes you out of being that perfectionist,
Hmm.
or you still are, but you just have to approach things differently.
Right.
So
And knowing that it can keep changing, like, whatever planner we come out with next year, I'm sure it's going to have some changes and some improvements. But yeah, just kind of saying, well, we're going to start with where we are. This is the best we can do for right now, and let's just get it out there.
that's awesome. I love hearing about those stories of test and change. So now I want to shift gears and ask what motivates you to do what you do. And feel free to answer this um, with respect to Curious & Co., your branding business,
Mhm.
or Balance Bound Planning.
I think just the idea of helping people through design is what has always, it's what connects with both our Curious and Company clients and the customers that are now buying the Balance Bound Planner. Just knowing that we've created something that is either helping someone organize their day and feel more in tune with what their needs are, or we've helped someone put their business out there with their best foot forward to the world and get the clients that they're looking for. So it's been a really it's just always gratifying, even on the long days or the harder days, to come back and say this person succeeded in large part due to the help, that we gave to them, or the product that we created for them. So that's great. And then, just ongoing, I'm the type of person who needs a lot of like motivation, and sometimes it's easy to just kind of get stuck in the doing. So I'm constantly these days listening to podcasts or nonfiction audiobooks that can just make me feel smarter, or just thinking harder, or just happier, just sort of listening to different things that are opening my mind to new ideas, and keeping me excited to do the work that we do.
I'm really excited to hear about those books and podcasts, and we will circle back to that in just a minute. To follow up on what motivates you to do with what you do, are there certain clients that you like to work with, especially is there a certain niche of any kind that you work with for Curious & Co? Or if not, do you have a couple of favorite types of clients or favorite clients you've worked on in the past that are really rewarding?
Yeah, I mean, they're all rewarding in different ways. I know that's such like a canned response, but really they
It's
are.
true. It's true. And it's so fun to learn about
Yeah.
different clients and different expertises, I know.
Yeah, I mean, we just finished branding for a company called Daintree Capital. She's going to, the owner, Alicia, she's going to provide debt capital to largely women-owned and minority-owned businesses. And that was so great to hear from her initially. And like, we got so excited at the prospect of working with her, because those are things we're passionate about, making sure that people have opportunities. People in marginalized communities are getting what they need to succeed. So, it's always gratifying to be able to bring someone's vision to life when they're doing good work like that. We loved working with Sarah from Atwater Designs, who I know is also a friend of yours, who I met through Wellstruck Lady Boss. And, we just generally love working with creatives, women business owners, anybody who sees the value in what design can bring to their business. That's really the foundation of who we love to work with. Someone who understands that, it's not just throwing together a logo. It's not just random fonts that you choose for no reason. There's reasons behind these things. And, when they have an understanding of what that can do for their business, it makes our job easier and more gratifying.
One thing I especially love about your work at Curious & Co. is that you don't fall into the trap of doing just whatever's trendy. I really find that every brand you put out there really has its own unique personality. I don't necessarily look at it and say, oh, it looks like Curious & Co. did that. I look at it and say, oh, that feels like the brand that you did, which I think is a really tough thing to do. And it can be so easy to fall into just wanting to do whatever's trendy.
Yeah, I think it also helps. I do have a business partner. Terry and I work closely on all of our brands, and I think it helps that we have slightly different styles. So sometimes one of us will take the lead on a project that just feels more right for that person, and we challenge each other. Sometimes, if Terry takes the lead on a project and then she says, "I'm a little stuck on this. Can you come in and just like mess around in my file?" It can bring things to life in a whole new way. So having that ability to bounce ideas off of each other always helps. And I think, thank you for saying that. We're always aiming to make sure that we're creating whatever represents the client, not just something that, we're just churning out designs that all look the same.
I think that's the mark of a really good brand studio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what's one tip you would share with other entrepreneurs based on all your experience? Because I know, one of the reasons I've invited you to co-host is because you have a good deal of experience in your business so far. So I'm sure you have lots of lessons to share, but is there one that stands out that you would like to share?
Oh my, just one.
Or a couple.
Yeah, I think today what I'm feeling is, be forgiving of yourself. I know that sounds silly, but it's so easy. I mean, and I've definitely had times where I feel down in the dumps. What are we doing? Are we doing the right thing? there's been other times where I feel on top of the world, like everything's amazing. And I think knowing that I go through those cycles and knowing that my partner does as well, and we kind of have to be there to play off of each other and motivate each other to, sometimes get up and dust ourselves off if we had, an experience or a project that didn't go as we wished it would. Just kind of give ourselves some space, be forgiving, let yourself take an afternoon off if you need to. I'm a big proponent of going to the movies by yourself. If, sometimes I just need that. A lot of times in the summer months when things are a little slower, if there's an afternoon that I don't have any deadlines, I'll say, I'm going to sneak out to a movie alone. I'm going to go to the theater where I can get a glass of wine and chicken fingers and just feel like a new person. And I know that
Yeah,
that's not necessarily business advice, but
it is.
you have to take breaks. You have to just be aware of what you need. So again, it all comes back to the self-care component of the planner, but yeah, just give yourself a break. If you're doing too much, step away. The business will still be there when you get back.
That is great advice. And something you also started to touch on there, or what I picked up on too, is I think the longer you're in business for yourself, the more you learn that those cycles are just a thing. Those up and downs are just a thing. And so when you have the downs, you start to get to a point where you trust that it will come up again.
Yeah.
And you recognize, oh, this is a cycle, so I need to just walk away for a little bit. And so I think that's really, really great advice. And if we can't occasionally go to a matinee for a break,
Then why did we
then
start our
why
own
are
business?
the managers of our own schedules, right?
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
So the next question I have for you is, we're going to jump into some quick rapid fire
Oh,
questions.
sure.
What are you listening to lately? So either podcasts, audiobooks, or music.
Yeah. So my favorite podcast lately, that also was recommended by another Wellstruck Lady Boss friend, Hillary Ray. She recommended Forever 35. It has nothing to do with business, really, but it's two friends talking about serums and self-care and all of the things that they do to take care of themselves. And sometimes it's just like that zone out that I need to hear two friends talking to each other and laughing. And they're also, they do own their own business. So that comes into play sometimes. It's great. And then in terms of business books that I've been listening to, I loved The Big Leap that you recommended, Sarah. That was really great. I also really loved Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable. That's a great one. And right now I'm listening to, I forget the name, Love Warrior, actually, by Glennon Doyle. Not
Worrier or warrior?
Love Warrior.
Warrior.
And it's not necessarily a business book, but I just find her really interesting, and she's such an amazing writer. So that's been playing in my car whenever I'm alone, and whenever I get that quiet time to listen. Those are my favorites right now that I'm kind of cycling through.
Awesome. And you shared a tip at the last event about where you get those audiobooks from.
Yes. Yeah, the library. I didn't get into audiobooks until like a year or two ago, and I realized that you can get audiobooks through your library. My library system uses the Libby app. I'm not sure if there's other apps, but Libby, it's Libby. And, sometimes for newer audiobooks, they either don't have them yet or there's a long wait. I'm actually, the one I'm listening to now by Glennon Doyle is a library book that I think I had to wait a couple months for, but they're free. And I do still have an Audible account that I, download some of the newer ones that I don't want to wait for, like Michelle Obama's book. That one, the library wait list was like a year for that. So
Oh my gosh.
I did buy that audiobook, but definitely make use of your local library. They're amazing. And a lot of times I think the audiobook loans are usually 2 or 3 weeks, and you can usually renew them if you need more time.
That's great. I need to go get myself a library card.
That should be your self-care for the day. Go to your library and get a library card.
I also just heard from a friend who lives in Philly that there's a new program that if you use your Philadelphia library card, that you can get access to a bunch of paid
Yes.
admission places.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the zoo.
so here's a tip that ties into that. I live in the suburbs, so I'm part of the Delaware County Library System. But if you have a library card anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania, you can also get a free Library of Philadelphia library card. So they not only have all different ebook catalogs and audiobook catalogs, you can also get those passes to different museums. I think you can reserve them like up to a month in advance. I
Hmm.
just got that email the other day too, so I'm very excited about that. So
That's
yeah,
so cool.
use your local library. You have to move to Pennsylvania now.
I'm staying in Delaware for
Yeah,
now,
all
but
right.
I'll tell all my PA friends.
Yeah.
Love it. So you may have just answered this, but your favorite app or resource of the moment?
Definitely, yeah, the Libby or the Audible
Mhm.
apps are always in use. In terms of work, I still use Basecamp. I know that a lot of people have transitioned to Trello or Asana for project management, but we are still Basecamp diehards. We've used it now basically since our business started, and we've been through the different iterations of the app and think it's great for project management. So that's what we're using at work every day.
That's great. Once you find a good one and you have a routine that sticks, don't leave
Yeah.
it. And
I
I've heard
mean,
great things about Basecamp.
yeah, and just all of our content from like forever is there. So it's so streamlined and easy for us.
That's great. Who are you crushing on? Perhaps an artist, activist, or another entrepreneur?
So I'm going to go back to my friend Amanda Jefferson. Amanda is like my sounding board for every idea I ever have. While I have a business partner and we work really well together, sometimes you just have to get that outside opinion as well. Amanda and I try to sit together at least like once a month. We'll just sit at a coffee shop together and work and just kind of bounce ideas off of each other, or just meet up to go through, a problem we're having with work and something that we need a solution for. And so she is just my eternal biz lady crush. She's always helping me and motivating me, and she was a big cheerleader for our planner as well.
That's awesome. She is going to be my guest co-host later this year as well.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's been really fun to watch her business grow really so quickly from my point of view.
Oh, yes. I mean, she has done, I mean, like, I can pinpoint the night that a bunch of us girlfriends were sitting at Iron Hill and she was still working at her corporate job. And she said, I think I'm going to start an organizing business. We were like, what? Like, where did this come from? And now, like, I think that was only 2 or 3 years ago. She is just doing amazing things. So she's so smart, and she has such an amazing background from being in corporate America that just gives her so many new different outlooks on things that, coming from an artist, coming from an art background, that I never really had like that formal business education. It's
Hmm.
really interesting sometimes to hear her point of view.
I'm not sure that I knew that about her.
Oh
So,
yes, yeah, she worked at the Wharton School. She's got like a whole corporate background.
so shout out to Amanda of Indigo Organizing. Go follow her on Instagram if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So let's see. What inspirational words resonate with you right now? Is there an inspirational quote or a reminder or affirmation that you have posted up in your office by chance?
So, um, I'm going to say, so when I listened to The Big Leap, which again, you recommended to me, there was a chapter or a section about just time and how we look at time, how we view time, how we let time stress us out. And kind of something I took away from that is like, time is a construct. I'm not going to let myself just feel rushed. I'm not going to feel anxious about a deadline being looming. Just kind of, time is a construct. I'm going to get it done. I always have. I've always figured it out. And worrying about time is doing more harm than just diving in and getting things done. So that's kind of been replaying in my head for the last few months, as I've had so much to juggle, both with Curious and Company and with Balance Bound. Fulfilling orders and still trying to market this business while we're also still doing branding work for Curious clients. Like, time feels at a shortage, and I stress myself out a bit if I just let myself get too deep in that there's so much to do and not enough time mindset. So time is a construct. I'll figure it out.
I like that. It made me take a deep breath just to hear you
Yes.
say that. So now I want to transition into talking about the event that's coming up.
Yes.
So I would love to know about the theme or the common thread that you've chosen for this particular event.
Yeah,
Um,
so yeah,
mhm. Go
sorry.
ahead.
So when you and I chatted, I brought up the idea of inviting entrepreneurs who are also shifting from service-based businesses to product-based businesses, whether that's a physical product or a course offering, something that's a little has a little bit more scalability. So I would love to bring some other people together just to hear what other people's experiences are, to kind of chat together about, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was going to be a whole second business. But then, just really be able to help each other and support each other as your Lady Boss events are always all about. And I think that it would be great to bring people together who are going through a similar transition.
I'm excited to see who is attracted by this because it's a thing a lot of people are talking about right now with their service-based businesses is how to scale it, how to grow it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that even those who aren't already doing it or haven't already gone through the transition and are thinking about it will be interested in this common thread.
Absolutely. I think entrepreneurs are always, we always like have so many different ideas. And sometimes it's hard to just know where to start with making that shift. So hopefully we can all support each other.
Mhm. So, what would you tell someone, what would you tell a friend who had never been to one of these events before to describe the event and why you like it, why they should come?
Sure. Well, I've invited lots of my friends to your events because I'm a big, big fan. I'm a big cheerleader for these events. And I think that, excuse me, um, the biggest thing for me is that, I tell people it's very low pressure. It's not like networking where you have to go and stand around and shake hands and make small talk with people. Um, you create a very welcoming space, and it's very organic in terms of, we go around and we introduce ourselves. And if you come with a question, that's great. No one's gonna point a finger at you and say, "What's your question?" And you must ask it now. It turns into a very organic, supportive conversation, and I've learned so much from all of the people. I've made some wonderful friends, and it's just a really supportive community. So I'd say if you're on the fence or you don't love networking, come to this event and just hear from some other people who are in deep with their business and going through the same things that you're going through, and be open to learning from each other and meeting new people.
Thank you so much, Brooke. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Like I said, I know that you give out the matchboxes at every event, and I have lots of matchboxes to prove that I'm a big fan. I've been there a lot. So
Everybody likes the
they're
matchboxes.
great. They're the best matches.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your shared wisdom. And I can't wait to have you as my co host in January.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me.